Hello. Included in Red Hat Satellite 6.1 are new features around OpenSCAP. OpenSCAP provides the user the ability to do security and compliance auditing at scale. In Red Hat Satellite 6.1, OpenSCAP provides a means to standardize security and vulnerability assessment. That is, if I have security policy that I want to apply to systems within my data center, I can now do this in an easy and centralized fashion. SCAP in Satellite 6.1 can leverage content such as the SCAP Security Guide, which is included in recent versions of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Additionally, as a user, you can create custom policy using tools such as the SCAP Workbench, which is also included in recent versions of Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Next, we will begin to look into the OpenSCAP capabilities as provided in Red Hat Satellite 6.1. Within Satellite 6.1, if we head over to the Host menu in Policies, we can take a look at the OpenSCAP policies that have been defined on the satellite. In this example, we have two OpenSCAP policies, one for RHEL 6 using the SCAP Security Guide and a default profile, another one for RHEL 7 using the SCAP Security Guide as well, but with the Red Hat corporate profile for Red Hat certified cloud providers. If I look into one of these policies, I can see many of the parameters that are used to configure that policy. Again, I can see the host here that have been audited based upon this policy, as well as the number of rules they have passed, failed, or are in any other status. Digging in further, I can also take one of these hosts and view the report that comprises this host's audit report. With this report, I can see the security status and audit status of this system based upon the last known scan that was done on the system. So I can look at various parameters such as the host name as well as the SCAP content that was used to audit the system, as well as getting various facts about that system such as its IP address and MAC address. Lastly, I can also see the security profile that was used when auditing that system. If I scroll down further, I see that the system gets a weighted score based upon the number of security rules that have passed or not passed. In this system, 66% of the rules that are applied to the system passed, which means 33% did not. Scrolling down further, I get further information around each of those rules and their status to why they have passed or not passed. As an example, one of the auditory rules here states that the temp partition should be located on a separate partition. I see that this host has failed that particular finding. If I select that finding, I also get to see the rule in more detail and additional parameters around what comprises the rule and how does that rule apply to the system. Next, I can close out of this and go back to the security policy. The security policies as included in Red Hat Satellite 6.1 can be applied on a scheduled basis. If I edit this policy, I can see the various scheduling options that I have to ensure that the SCAP scans happen based upon my requirements. So if I look under the security policy, I can see the SCAP content that I'm using. Also, I can change the XCCDF profile if there was additional profiles available. I also can set the schedule. In this example, we are using a weekly schedule with scans happening on a Wednesday. We could also set this to monthly or a custom schedule, which can use cron type syntax. Lastly, I associate the policy with locations and organizations, and then host groups to which this policy will be applied to, and hit submit. Now that I have defined and created the SCAP security policy, I can then provision a system and tell that system to use the SCAP policy that is associated with it. To do this, I go ahead and I create a new host, very similar to any other new host that would be created in Satellite. Give this host a name. Select its host group. We'll use the RHEL 7 Dev Servers host group, as this was the one that was associated with the RHEL 7 policy. I'm deploying on top of libvirt, so I will select my libvirt compute resource. When we click on the public classes, what we'll see here is that the OpenSCAP client is already included. By default, in the installation of OpenSCAP, we wire in the Puppet modules required to provision OpenSCAP into all Puppet environments, and thus they're included in all of the content views on the satellite. Define some networking parameters, which are done by default, operating system as well, and now we'll just set up some parameters of the virtual machine so that we may provision it. Lastly, we can see that there are some parameters for the OpenSCAP client that are applied when the system is provisioned, and then we can go ahead and hit submit to provision that system. This system is now in the background provisioning. When the system comes online, it will get the OpenSCAP client installed and configured, and will complete SCAP scans as per the defined security policy.